Okay, everybody, welcome to the May 2023 meeting of the Glendale Coin Club. I want to thank everyone for coming out to the meeting tonight. I heard traffic was especially challenging, so I'm sure we'll get a few coming in even after this right now. So thanks for fighting the traffic to be here, and those of you guys watching on YouTube, thanks for being here as well. I think we're going to go ahead and get the meeting started with the Pledge of Allegiance, like we usually do, and I think Ben's volunteering once again to start us with that. So thank you, Ben.
I've got no problem, Mr. Kittle.
Thanks, Ben. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Play ball.
Thanks, Ben. All right. Okay, Ben and Don are over there selling some raffle tickets for our raffle, and they're also selling 50-50 tickets. Half the money for that we collect goes to the winner of that poll, and the other half goes to benefit our coin club. Amy says, good job, Ben. So if you guys want to participate in that, that'd be awesome. Let's see here. Announcements. I don't really have too many new announcements here. I know that we talked about all of you guys needing to join the American Numismatic Association. One of the things the ANA is doing coming up in a few weeks here is starting their elections, and that's important. So make sure you guys that have been ANA members for at least a year. I don't think they let brand new people vote because the candidates would rig it every year, I think. But you have to be a member for at least a year. You should be getting your ballot in the mail in the next few weeks, and make sure you guys all vote. And if you're not yet an ANA member, let us know and we can help you get hooked up with that. Walt, did you want to talk about ANA election right now?
No, I just wanted to, I know you were here last month. I have a flyer there, but there are two candidates running for the vice presidency. They have opposite views when it comes to education, which is the foundation of the ANA, which is based on, it's also based on our federal charter. I would like to recommend you consider, I've got flyers here with Mark Leiderman, who's one of the candidates. The other one is Mr. Oberth. Mr. Oberth is a dealer, and he well, let's put it this way, he would like to see anything dealing with education that doesn't have a return on income for us be nixed. That's our main goal, to reach out, and he's been on the board now for 4 years, and we've had some difficulties with that issue. Mr. Leiderman has been a great proponent of education in all its various forms, been our chief exhibit chairman for a number of years, was my parliamentarian when I was president of the ANA, and he has been there to help support our mission. And right now we're developing the future of numismatics for the ANA and for the general public too. A lot of it's going to be done online. We have a whole new e-learning program, which I've been working with the last 2 years. And we've hired individuals to do that. One of the programs you're going to hear tonight will eventually be one, but it's an opportunity for people to view them. Those e-learning programs are on every other Tuesday and Thursday of the month from about, 11 o'clock our time here in the West. 12 o'clock noon here, Midwest, 1 o'clock on the East Coast. But they are done by all sorts of people. You can learn grading, at least the theory of grading, online. We put that together. So there's some exciting things that we're doing. This is the future. It's great that we come to clubs still to support those outreach programs that have education. Many clubs today, unfortunately, have turned into social clubs. Bingo night, pizza night, ice cream night, that's all they have. And most clubs are founded on the basis of promoting numismatics, teaching mentors. They'll complain they can't get youth. Well, a kid comes there to learn about grading. He says, well, we'll have pizza night instead. We can't tell you anything. It's a turnover. So, again, change is not easy for a lot of people. I'm going to get off the stage. That's my program for tonight. I'm sorry.
Well, thank you for that, Walt. You guys all know Walt. He's been a real support of our club for longer than I've been even knew the club existed, I'm sure. And as a past president of ANA, we're really lucky to have him be part of our club. And his endorsement of Mark for vice president is something we should really consider, because he's been there. He's involved in the trenches of the ANA. He knows way more about it than we do. And Walt, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I know there's somewhere over 20,000 ANA members out there, and it's
about
32,000. And whenever I see the vote totals of these elections, it's always around 2,500 votes is what a candidate gets. So
do it by email or they'll mail you a ballot.
So very few, a small percentage actually votes. So those of you listening to us, those of you in the room that actually have a vote, it really can make a difference if you actually return that flyer in, because a lot of the votes do come in pretty close. So make sure you actually vote.
You can visit the ANA website. We've got a platform of the candidates. We've got a number of candidates, a number of good candidates. So I'm not going to recommend anybody except Mark. That's just not here. But you can visit. There'll be a candidate form coming up. It's posted on the ANA website. I don't recall the date.
Lady Kid Nichols in chat is asking, how do you vote? If you've been a member for more than 1 year, they should automatically email you.
They will send you a ballot in the mail, or
in mail.
The company will send it in the mail.
Okay.
There's a company.
And I think that starts in the beginning of June, right? Like you vote the entire month of June, I think.
Yeah.
Isn't that what it is?
They should be mailed out, and I think it's May 15th. It's got to be 45 days before the show in Pittsburgh.
So if you've been a member of the ANA for more than a year, you should be seeing something in the mail in the next week or two.
And you can contact headquarters if you want to get a vote online.
That's right.
We'll tell you how to do that there as well.
And if you don't get a ballot for some reason, you can contact them and they'll tell you, oh, you just joined up, or you didn't pay your dues, or there might be some reason you didn't get your ballot.
We make mistakes too.
It's possible, but very good, very good. All right, thank you for that, Walt. And again, yeah, if you're not yet a member of the ANA, we always encourage you to do that. That is our national coin club. It's been around since the 1880s. It's something like that. 1891. I was close. 1891. And if you at least like coins a little bit, you should be supporting that group. So let us know if you need help with an ANA membership. Before we get to our 50-50 drawing, any guests here want to introduce yourself and say hello? Anyone? Anybody? No? Okay. Anybody else have any other announcements? Yes, right here.
Okay, a couple of things. If you are interested in ancient coins, the Ancient Coin Club in Los Angeles this Sunday at 1 o'clock at the Scarborough Center is having an auction of coin books. Ancient coin books, some of them are very hard to get. It doesn't cost anything to park over there, and you don't have to pay to get admission into the club. Just get over there and look at the stuff. If you like it, bid on it at the auction. And the other announcement I have, a little more personal, at the end of this month is Memorial Day. In between having your picnics and your parties, I would ask everybody to take a moment out. You remember,
Thank you for that. John, did you have an announcement?
Walt graciously is speaking for us today, and I know we have a speaker next month, but we need speakers that are interested in wanting to speak. What do we get? July, August? We do still do the white elephant in August.
Well, we haven't done because we hadn't met in August for many years, but I guess we could talk about whether we're going to do that or not.
Anyway, if anyone has a program they want to do that, let us know.
And if those of you guys watching at home didn't hear that, that's John Duff, our asking for people to And hopefully we're back. Hopefully we're back. Just a library wanted us to agree to their policy every hour or something, it seems like. But okay, I think it's back working. They'll tell us in chat if it's not. You're watching it? Okay, good. 50-50 draw. I think it's time for that. Just give it to Gordon. It's Gordon's turn. While Ben's going to pick a winner of our 50-50 raffle, what you might have missed us saying is just that if you have a presentation that you might want to perform for the Coin Club, some educational presentation, just get in touch with me or get in touch with John Duff, and we'd love to have more of our members speak. And I've, of course, asked Walt again, too, if he ever comes up with anybody that he thinks would be a good fit for our club. I know he's done such a great job with us over the last few years.
I'll get it back online. I've been tied up with other things.
It's $65.
65 bucks total? All right, so how's that work, Ben?
Like $32?
33 to the winner. 32 to the club.
33 to the winner, 32 to the club? Is that what we're doing? All right.
Sounds like fun.
And this is going to be your pink ticket if you bought a 50-50 ticket. Not the red one that looks exactly the same, but the pink one.
Pink!
Hey, some people have tougher time with colors than others. I know, so.
All right, make sure you roast them. That's pink, not red.
Is that the winner?
Yes. 672551.
You just showed this number right there.
That's the one.
Is that a match?
That's it.
Well, then I guess I won. All right, we'll just let the club keep it all. That's
Okay.
fine. All right, very good. Thank you guys all for participating in that. And very good. So we have a presentation tonight by Walt Ostromecki. He's going to be talking about the romance of coin collecting. And I don't know if it's exactly what we all think that means, but I thought
that might be a good way to start. What do you think? Romance of coin collecting. It's been a divorce somewhere. Oh, is it somewhere? That might work too. But the romance of coin collecting, I had the opportunity to be one of the contributors to this book back in the 1990s. Ed Rochette, Numismatic Scrapbook and Numismatic News, and eventually our executive director for 25 years. We put this together. A lot of it dealt with research, with papers. Now, the program tonight, the text is what I'm looking at to test out here. I don't have it set up for PowerPoint yet, so I'm going to put some slides up to help you as we go along. What do you think romance means? Divorce? You can't buy any more coins, can you? Maybe we'll find out tonight that coin collecting can add romance, or even possibly more romance to your hobby adventure and journey, or even perhaps your married life. Single? Same thing. Perhaps as we soon shall discover. Come on. It's all right. We'll be. Anyway, this evening I want to just share some of the newsprints, personal items, and reflection in tales and anecdotes on the romantic side dealing with numismatics. The events, although some are not factual, but they're well printed as factual over the years. And there'll be some very unusual stories and tales printed from the annals. All right, tonight as we begin, I'm going to just take a look at the very first one. If you put my yes, what have we got up here? First question to you, please interact if you want to. I would certainly enjoy that. But first off, we're going to go to number one here. Y'all know about Miss Liberty, right?
right.
Okay, was Miss Liberty a bag lady? You have a picture of her here. That's Miss Liberty. Well, let's find out. Does anyone know or have knowledge of who the individual was that was the original portrayer for Miss Liberty? This went back into the 1840s. No. This was the model.
St. John's?
The model, sorry. That was a different Liberty we're talking about here. This particular one deals with from about 1840 on. I should have prefaced it. I'll make that note to add to it. I do have it here, 1840, 1873. But she did appear, this woman did appear on Liberty seated dollars from 1840 to 1873. Her name was Caroline. She married Scott Williams at age 18. And her story is found in the annals of many of the New York newspapers of the late 1890s and turn of the century type. And she is seldom mentioned in print as the model for the design of Miss Liberty. In 1877, a faded photo of her was discovered in the Mint Engravers file. And of course, you probably know who that was, George T. Morgan, for the Morgan dollars. So flash, we turn to here, New York Times, Friday, April 24th, 1908. Headline reads, dollar model Miss Liberty destitute. Hyphen, bag lady, question. Well, her portrait was used, but what does a bag lady symbolize to us, mean? You're destitute, but you're what? You're lacking what? Funding, money, reserves. And so we find out here that her life as a model, you know how much she made? Zero. Zero. And think of it, zero. That's not much at all, is it?
No.
I wonder if she paid income tax on zero. I have no idea what happened. But she was penniless, she was destitute. And so at that time, the romance deals with the fact that this lady here got paid for nothing, yet she appears on coins, thousands, even millions of our coins from 1840 all the way down to about 1950 with that particular design. It's a sad thing. I'm going to pass you some of these as well. I'm sorry, I should move along. Again, these I'm looking at the text that we're trying to find to keep your romance alive here.
Do you want us to show this other side too?
No, that was just a second one as a backup. I have some on file. You don't need to see
Okay.
it. Anyway, all right. You historians, wrong side. I gave you the wrong one. That side, yes. You already gave away the answer.
Sorry.
That's all right. Don't worry. Did America ever have an Irish rose? A person, I just call it Irish rose, on U.S. coinage? Yeah, you got the answer there.
Well, you got the answer right there too.
The thing is, when I put this into a template form, I'm going to blow up her face because if you look at this facial design and look at the St. Gallen's face blown up, they're almost identical. Yes, we did have one. And who did she work for? Well, in the year 1907, her name was Mary Cunningham. Believe it or not, she got paid, but only to make dinners and take care of the house for St. Gallen's. If you want to call that payment, I guess, that might be it. But she was a red-haired beauty of 24. Her job, of course, originally, she was a waitress in Cornish, New Hampshire, that is. And close by that summer estate was, guess what? Sculptor St. Gallen's residence. I tell you. And he had been charged at that time with redesigning U.S. coins. Because Theodore Roosevelt wanted to show America as a civilized nation. That's what he was after. And so he set to work on 3 denominations: the cent, the $10, and the $20 gold piece. His sketches and models just didn't seem to make it. So one day, fate played a role here, called Providence at times. The St. Gallen's decided to have lunch, guess where? At that Cornish Inn in New Hampshire. For Miss Cunningham, we waited on him. At first sight, he knew hers was the face he was seeking. Believe that? I can imagine. Her facial features were typically looking Irish to him. And so he sketched her, and the romance coinage history was made. She no longer was a waitress, but employed by Mr. St. Gaudens. And of course, you can turn the other side up if you want to do it that way. But take a look. I know it's hard to see. I tried to blow this 20 up, but one in my collection didn't. It's a 13D. But with the newsprint, which I'll blow up too, I'll put the two side by side. We put this in a PowerPoint. Sorry, again, this is actually a newspaper article of that kind of research. Well, a closing note, the public outcry at her presence on coins, they said was illegal. You have an immigrant on there. And of course, the law didn't say anything about immigrants. It said one thing only. You could not picture who? A king on any U.S. coins. And so St. Gaudens got away with it. Teddy Roosevelt approved of it. And of course, an Irish road did indeed. Beyond that as well. And you get $5 bills in your pocket. Okay. On these two different ones here. Sorry, I know this is rough on you, but it's easier by holding it up. As I said, this is just the text that I'm looking at. Next, I want to take a focus at U.S. paper money, specifically the reverse of a $5 bill if you have it. Okay? Now, if you look at the part here down at the bottom where the word 5 is, you're right. Okay. You're not going to be able to see it here. You're going to need a magnifying glass, and I'll blow it up. Okay. Down in the bushes there. Okay. If you've got a real sharp eye, you're going to see something very, considered very interesting. There's a secret number there. Between the lower bushes, follow the arrow up just above it.
Well, is it on these newer 5s too?
I got newer on the other side.
Okay.
It's not as detailed. On this one, you have to move it just the right angle. I'm going to tell you why it's there. Yeah, it's on the right. It's on the left side. This is the left side. Right above the words. Go up to the bushes as they split there in the very center. I know it's hard to see. You have to move the note. Again, we'll be able to do this with the PowerPoint to make it look a lot better. But at the base of it, you'll see the number 3172. May or may not see it, but it's there. Well, is it there? I know it's not. I just looking at the text. We'll get to the other thing. I'll put it all together. I'm sorry you're getting it. But we went at that time. Bob Luber was director of the Bureau of Engraving and Printing, and we figured where else to get an answer about this secret number 3172 that's there on the $5 note in those bushes. And the authoritative answer, according to Mr. Luber, was the number goes back a long time in lore and currency, he said, stressing the word lore. And I quote, it has no significance. The figures are mere quirks in the engraver's art. Yes. You have to turn it to say, when I blow it out, I say, you're not getting a fair thing, but I want to check the text that we're doing. How disappointing. There's no secret, no such numbers, yet the number appears there. Well, a couple of other things you can find out too with the magnifying glass. You notice there's only 26 names above the building. Only 26 states are listed. There are 12 columns. They also have 12 states listed. So again, this is the 1950 design. The other one is a more modern one on the other side there. And these appear up above it. Anyway, from one perspective, the reverse of the note has seldom people notice this particular note or pay attention. So this is where the romance comes in. Wow, we got something secret here. We can see. Well, it's not as such. Move on to a number 4 here. This is the actual one. I'll pass it around later.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to do it this way.
It's okay. No,
Bear with me.
No. It's all good.
I wanted to test the text out that we're working Most of you are probably around during the Nixon administration in the 70s. And during the year 1973, yeah, there you go. There was a need for gas rationing, gasoline rationing, because of the oil embargo imposed by the Middle Eastern countries on the United States and the fact that they supported Israel in the Arab-Israeli war. President Nixon ordered a rationing coupon as a result of a 15% cut in supplies. This is one of those examples. 4.8 billion coupons were printed by the Bureau of Engraving and Printing. The notes were kept in storage sheds at the Pueblo Army Depot in Colorado, thus easily accessible to anybody. They were unguarded. I'm sure the rats had a good time with it as well. With their destruction, the complete run of the 4.8 million took place on June 26, 1984. Officials from the government's Office of the Inspector General witnessed, and I quote, according to newspaper headlines, the complete destruction of all coupons. Here's an example. That is my collection. So why? Well, how did these survive? Well, what do you think? If you take a look at this one here, I'll pass it around to see it. They have a crunch near the middle there near Washington's head. What happened was the military there in Colorado Springs was charged with cutting them up, tearing them up, destroying them. But they were not adverse to putting, let's say, a few down there and walking away with them. They showed up on the markets probably about 6 months to a year after they were all supposedly destroyed. And it became a quick sale. I bought this one again back in the early 1980s. At that time it was $90. This is from Bob Campbell, all about points. So he had a handful, about 4 or 5. That's it. Today, you look on eBay, they run $2,000 to $3,000. I'm not saying that they're worth that, but this is a particular something that was printed. But how can something that was completely destroyed, witnessed by our government, no offense to the government, not one of those who are going to go out there and protest about it, but the Energy Department, but it's funny, later on there was a department of the Energy bought it. What they have to do with this, I don't know. But official reports show that 18 million more than the 4.8 million plus were destroyed. Plus the government accounted. They want us to do our taxes right? But here the government seems to have problems with that. Well, you do the math. I'm going to pass around this example. It's an interesting little bit of history that we seldom see. I'm lucky to have one of these.
You want us to pass this one around?
Yeah, if you want to pass it around now or later on, that's fine. I don't want to. Just want to go on with a couple more.
Pass that around, let everybody
This is
see.
an obverse and a reverse.
Okay. Thank you.
The Golden Spike, meeting of the two great railroads. Yeah, that's right. Well, the ceremony honoring that event by the U.S. Mint for the 100th-year anniversary was in 1969. However, it repeated a fallacy without doing its due diligence. Now, it says that the East and the West Coast were linked by rail on May 10, 1869. On the U.S. medal, this is the one side. Would you turn over here real quick to the other side and then put it back? There's the other side too. It shows the link up there, the two locomotives. There's been a couple of television shows that showed that link up. We saw the same thing on the Utah State border when it came out there at Promontory Point. Well, was Promontory Point the actual spot where the two railroads met? And what about the P? Now we know from the P, as numismatist, that means it was a medal was made in Philadelphia, correct? But the exact time of Promontory Point was supposed to be at 1247 here. Yes, the rails did meet. But the story that followed, well, just wasn't factual. Newspapers make that error, especially like the New York Herald, biggest newspaper at the time. And here's what took place. When the Chinese crew from the west and the Irish crew from the east met, and the final golden spike was to be laid and commemorated by a photographer that sets the scene. Keep in mind that the Chinese did not have a great command of the English language, and that the singular word shoot, that in mind, did have a significant meaning to them. It scared the daylights out of them. So as the photographer was getting ready to set that in posterity forever, he yelled, what? Shoot! And the Chinese ran. It was a riot. It was just all hell broke loose. They scattered. They had to get the work back. It took them 4 hours again to set up that scene. So it didn't take place, but the story behind it is covered. And of course, you all know the story about when Governor Leland Stanford raised his hammer to strike it. What did he do? He missed. And with that miss, it hit the rail, and guess what? It made a spark. The Chinese again scattered. Imagine what it was at that particular time. The photographer lost all patience. He says, I can't deal with this. And he says, I'm just snapping a shot. It was done. So we don't know for the fact. Well, the hero of the day finally emerged when General Dodge strode to the rescue and tapped that golden spike in. So it did happen, but not as history or the newsprint photographers recorded. Some 4.5 to 5 hours later, it actually met. And that picture was taken, and the design shows on the back here as well.
Was this spike gold?
No, it looks like it. This is an older metal. I got a circulated one. I don't know where.
But the real spike they used was gold, wasn't
The
it?
spike was supposed to be solid gold from California. Now that's what again, we can't find anything in the newspapers that talks about that. It does say a golden spike was provided. So if anybody can go up there and get it nowadays.
I know I did a little research on it a couple years ago for the anniversary, and I think there were 4 different golden spikes. Like some are ceremony ones, and I know one's in a museum up at Stanford.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's up there as well. But the key mint mark on there, that does not stand for Philadelphia after this story has been told. It became synonymous with Phooey and not Philadelphia. That's what the newsprint said after they found out the story was not as it was supposed to be. On the lighter side, and I don't think that, you're probably, most of you are old enough to remember this one here as well. But remember W.C. Fields, he used to react with a certain lady. Oh, my favorite chickadee, yes. And here on the lighter side, come up and see me sometime, right? We've all heard that story, I'm sure. The quote of the parody femme fatale, Mae West. One could say she was a romantic sort at heart. There's where romance ties in. She was, in her heart, the model for the Indian or the Buffalo nickel, the star in her next picture. She was so taken with that Indian. Can you believe it? Well, in 1934, even she wired the Secretary of the Treasury in Washington, asking to find that Indian or a relative so she could feature him in one of her pictures. He responded, well, the sculptor, James Earl Fraser, used not one, but 3 different Indians. She didn't even know that. To produce a composite design. Well, West did make her movie. The title of her proposed movie was titled Going Cowgirl instead of Going Indian. The tale of a woman cattle baroness. It changed to Going to Town. And there's always producers and writers that want it done. Oddly enough, she kept the Indian role in the movie, even though it was a gentleman named knocking people, John Fry. Well, don't have much time for our audience to go on here. What about something else? And again, pardon me, I should have moved closer.
It's okay, Walt. Don't worry about it.
We all talk about the dollar sign. Is there romance in the story here behind this? There certainly is. And again, these are here. The origin of the sign, surprisingly true. The development of the $1 sign was actually in, believe it or not, according to records and newsprints, Colorado Springs. And in fact, the current headquarters and home of the ANA is there. And according to the newsprint at the time, Colorado College is the campus where the ANA headquarters is located. It just so happened that in 1891, a story was written there by Dr. Florent Cargioli, a professor of physics, math, and later dean of the Department of Engineering at Colorado College. The title of his 1912 published work in Modern Science magazine was The Evolution of the Dollar Mark. You can see who gave it to us, where it's coming from. This attracted much numismatic interest. His published work shattered many myths about it. He noted that there are few mathematical symbols which have given more unrestrained speculation than the dollar mark. Many speculators attributed it to the Greek sign, yes, and a contradiction, of course, at that time to Jesus. These claims were based on unsubstantiated facts. The first use of it on U.S. documents. Now, we look at the top down. Notice it's going to go from U.S. to the dollar sign with a U in it. On the 1891 educational note, $2 reverse, which is pictured there. I can't afford one of those. Unless, John, you got one around somewhere that I don't know. You and I probably couldn't afford that in 20 years. But it happens to have the symbol. If you look at the arrow, and I have to put these on enlargements later on. But it has a US and there's a U in between it, or an S connecting them. Well, the line between the U and the S with the line connecting them made it look like US with the S over it. Hence, this is where we suppose the design came for. But actually, there's no story. Believe it or not, you can visit his works in Colorado Springs at the Colorado College, right behind UCLA, or UCLA, I'm going to came from UCLA, at the ANA headquarters, and you can see his display at the particular house. I want to share a couple of other interesting things. What do you know about what's called a plug nickel? How would you define a plug nickel? What is it? I love audience participation out there. I can do it.
I would just call it a nickel that maybe has a silver center plugged into it.
Okay, that makes sense too, of course. I won't give you this right now, but I'm going to give it to you in a bit. Any other definition of a center? No?
Filled in hole. Yeah.
Filled in hole, okay, but think of the word plugged. Expand on the word plug. You got a hole over that door. Lone Ranger doesn't always have them. I do too. Well, it's interesting that the story we found about plug nickels came from a romantic woman in our American history. You got it. I wish I had one of these. There's only 2 or 3 known. Well, here it is here. That she would stamp on a black, not a coin, this is a foreign coin issue stamp. I can't find any examples of anything else beyond that type of thing.
Wow.
But the term actually has to do with, this is a plug nickel, isn't it? It was plugged with a bullet. That's what you call the other side. You can turn it over. Another plug nickel. I figured the first time I found one, a plug nickel on a plug nickel. And again, it's hard to see here. This is a modern nickel. It's plugged. There's a nickel plug in it. One of those mini coins from the Dixon, downsized in the 70s, put in there. Kind of interesting. A friend of mine made that up. Right. But the term plug nickel came from something during the 1930s. You've probably seen, no, you're not old enough. John, maybe. I'm sorry. I don't have any friends now as it is. So. But if you were around in the 1930s, be there, John? Not quite. No. I'm sorry. Forgive me. I don't have any friends now at all. Who's involved? But you remember things called pinball machines, don't you, folks? Mm-hmm. They're romance, all those flashing lights and bells and dinging and things moving around. Well, theoretically, a plug nickel was a type of token used to put in those machines rather than currency. Because it had to be weighted a certain way so it would start activating the game. And so the winners, of course, were paid off in what? Those plug nickels. And they were just basically tokens and were exchanged for not money, gum, cigarettes, and well, if nobody was looking, maybe you could get some cash out of it. But in order to comply with Section 491B of U.S. Title 18, it prohibited round tokens being issued by private agencies such as pinball factories or game houses. And a lead plug, of course, was added to it to make the difference so that it would be legal. One special plug nickel, of course, is right here. But one of the most famous plug nickels was issued by odds makers in 1980. I'd love to find one of these, the Kentucky Derby. They had odds markers, a plug nickel, at 3-to-1 value with a hole punched all over it. And of course, they had a great job at that time, 1980s. John, they never went to school, believe it or not. But on the round side of the token, it said plug, P-L-U-G-G, nickel, N-I-C-K-L-E. Yeah, and what was the race worth? $2. Not sure of the story of the plug nickel or what that has to do with it, but that's part of the romance that we're looking at here as well. Coins for the rock. Here's one. What do you think the rock means? I don't mean rock nuts. I don't mean the Rockford Files. Coins for the rock. Any thoughts? Well, yeah, currently we've got what? The rock is called what? But that's not what we're going to talk about. The picture up first. Thank you. I'm sorry. This is not. Gibraltar, the rock, 1988, when they issued their first coinage. Okay, you can turn it over. Now you know the rock. This is what they're talking about here. Okay, the rock of Gibraltar. Circulating coinage of the century began in 1988. This is the 2014 silver example, but it shows the rock with the queen as well. But the tradition has the bust of Queen Elizabeth, of course. And the first ones in 1988, never find, is a £1 issue featuring the coat of arms. It's interesting to note, if you look at that particular coin, you'll find that there is a hanging key from it. What's a hanging key there for? What significance does it have? Well, Gibraltar is a key to Europe, as a strategic importance for 335 years. So that's why there's a key there. The idea the coin is still circulating, well, up until that time, pieces of Spanish evade, according to newspapers, circulated in Gibraltar. No English coins, amazing. And the last one, I just want to have some fun. And any of you wanted something else, I've got a coloring one for you. For the kids, the U.S. Mint has this out now too. It's a brand new coloring book. It's updated and great to do it. But in closing this little romance story, I hope you're finding some romance here with as well.
Okay.
And here we have a famous scene, recreated, of course, about an iceberg and a ship. 1912, right? We all know the fate when the two got together. Yeah, that has romance in itself. And I want to share you the first romance that many of us had in the A&A at the early years, was the fact that our first coin show held in Colorado Springs. They called it Yearly Spring at that time. It later became changed to another name, and now, but they had it. I couldn't find it to dig it out. I had it home somewhere. But the convention was actually held over the ice rink at that time in Colorado Springs. And there were bumper stickers and various signs that said to the people that came to the show, "You froze your butt off," believe it or not. They just had wood over it. It was one of the funniest things. I'll find that stuff. I've got to put away somewhere. I survived the 1978 A&A Early Money Show in Colorado Springs at the Ron Moore Ice. So that's part of our romance, and I hope you've enjoyed a little bit about the historical fact of that. But this book is full of it. All sorts of anecdotes, and when we get this done properly, I will come back and do it again with all the various shows and different types of things we have. But it's fun to have romance with your hobby. Hopefully this little bit of 10 special tales or stories or factual twists by the government made you have a little more romance with our hobby. So thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you, Walt. Thanks again, Walt. That was great.
Something I noticed the spots I got to refine, because that's what I was looking at. So I had to watch the audience to see. Because there on the e-learning, I can interact with the people as the program goes on.
So that's what this will be. It'll be an e-learning. Are you going to do this at the A&A convention in Pittsburgh as well?
No, it's not
or
going to be in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
It's not being developed. It's not scheduled for development or actually to be used until September.
Okay.
So this year.
Great.
So these are online classes, yes. They're every, as I say, second and fourth Tuesday and Thursday, 11 o'clock our time. Right? There, yeah, you can see them. You can Google. They'll tell you when they are, who the presenters are. I got one coming up the 25th. So it's on the U.S. Trade Route.
Well, there you guys go. If you're members,
over 50 people.
if you're A&A members,
So you don't have
look
to
at the e-learning.
Yeah, it doesn't cost you to watch. All you have to do is sign up. I'll give you a link.
Oh,
We make
okay.
it, that's, as long as I'm still chair of it, it won't be unless the board changes that.
The trade dollar that was recently, that was counterfeited.
For every one genuine, there's probably 1,000 counterfeits or more. Your particular counterfeit you gave me, A&A did not have a lot of those counterfeit ones. You sold me that bag of stuff. That was a thing. And I said, and when I opened the program, you know, sorry, I forgive me. Oh, I know you give it back, but we looked through them there summer. Those were fun to look at. But in that lot, I found two interesting ones. And when I opened the top, people may not be aware of all the works in that particular issue. But I say, look, folks, right now, before we begin the program, I have two 1879 trade dollars. I'd like to sell one to you at the end, anybody that's interested. And I would write you my address and so forth. Well, let's go on to the story anyway. Story there, I guess, is a little romance in that too. 1897 S. 79 S, I'm sorry. My mind was gone. San Francisco didn't make any. Those are the first two examples of S's we ever found. So thank you for it. So anybody likes to buy one of those, I have two, something, even though they're counterfeits. Yeah, no. They're not counterfeit. You don't want to get, I don't want to get into all those.
Probably fresh out of China.
Could be, I'm not sure, but they're made of two different metal alloys. They weigh differently.
Yeah, I
They're
think I
lead
saw. I
bases.
think I saw
Two different, but one is a
1700
large S, one is a
cc
small
something.
S something. So I know there's at least two fake dies out there somewhere.
It's
So see,
wild.
this is the things you can have fun with anyway, I'm sorry. I don't want to bore you, you want to get to lunch.
Well, thanks again, Walt. That was great.
Probably.
That was great. Appreciate it. I think it'll be a really good presentation.
Yeah, as I say, this is, again, I had to just download all this to have.
That was great.
I can't believe she's a bag lady.
That's pretty wild, yeah.
Especially tied in, it's what you want to start out with. Yes, Liberty is a bag lady.
All right.
That's my grandmother, by the way.
If no one has any other questions or anything for Walt, I guess we can get into the show. Oh, Bob has a question? And then Gordon? Yeah.
This is a quick thing.
Gordon?
When you said there was a secret number on a $5 bill, this is primarily a question for the ladies here. On a carton of eggs, do you know what they're, when it gives you this expiration date, it's just like December, and then there's 3 numbers, and then it tells you the date. Ever notice that on the carton of eggs? Okay. All that 20 numbers is will tell you when those eggs were made. It says 105, it's 105th day. You figure that out.
Interesting.
It expires, let's say, May the 18th. And before that, the 3 numbers say 101.
So now we got the romance of egg cart.
There you go.
Is that what we're gonna say?
It's a secret
Did you lay an
number.
egg with it?
Bobcat, you had a question?
Yeah, for Walt, back to your plug nickel for just a second there. I assume that's where the saying originated, not worth a plug nickel? You didn't mention that.
Well, there's a term that,
Did they mention it because of that? Not a nickel?
it doesn't tie into the story of the pinball and all the materials that was used. I guess it became just a slang term. It's in the slang dictionary. So we feed it what plug nickel. And it means something just totally worthless. Why they use the plug nickel? Well, probably after Antiope shot the center on to say a nickel, it wasn't worth 5 cents there anymore. That one was gone, at least. So you don't have it, just the slang dictionary does have it. I may add that later on. Well, that Antiope was on a foreign coin. A friend of mine said, well, you gotta put that in there.
And you got your gasoline coupon back? I hope so.
I'm gonna need on the
I hope
phone.
so. I think I saw it make it
I'm
back to
sure
the
it
front
is.
there. All right.
Yeah, coin collectors are not.
Well, very good. All right, we're gonna go ahead and do show and tell. Ben, can you get me that show and tell list so we can go through that? Thanks again, Walt. That was great. All right, show and tell. First up will be Dennis. And if you didn't sign up for show and tell, there'll be a chance to do it at the end there, so don't worry.
First of all, I'd like to make a plug for the Covina Coin Club. It meets next Wednesday. I just got that delivered to me today, scanned it in my computer, and I will send that out in the email. And then going back in time, I was not here last month, but I watched this online last month, which was rather interesting because I was up attending this play that my grandson was in. That was my excuse to run away for a while. And that has nothing to do with numismatics. But I do have a medal here that has something to do with numismatics.
Okay.
This is a Philippine Rizal medal. And what's interesting about this, if you can see this, there are initials on here that say CR, Islas Filipinas, and then there's another version that says KR. And then this is Rizal. Rizal is the hero of the Philippines. He was a poet and a writer, and he wrote a number of different books, including La Soledad, which was addressed primarily to women. Now, the ones that say KR are for the Knights of Resolve, though they're men. The CR stands for I can't even pronounce this. CONFRARIA, Resolve, which is like a sorority of women. And this was given to me a long time ago, and the gentleman who gave it to me had both. And no one knew what the difference was, and I finally did some research and figured it out. And so hopefully, he said, tell me when you got it, and I'm out of touch with him. So hopefully, he'll look at this meeting and see the answer.
Very cool. We got a viewer in chat, Nate, his initials are CR that just posted, and they're very interested in it. Thanks, Dennis. That's awesome.
You're welcome.
We can go ahead and set this stuff up on one of those tables. It'd be great. Dennis M.
What I brought along, I have 6 coins here that were issued by the Romans for use in Egypt. And what's interesting, that these go from about 54 AD to almost 300 AD. Rome owned the entire world, known world at the time. Roman currency circulated everywhere, except Egypt. For some reason, the Romans thought they needed to double dip, maybe put good in today's Congress. What they did is, when merchants came by sea or by land, they had to go through customs and they had to turn in all the money that they were carrying, and Rome would issue them these coins. And it's Egypt under Rome. Now, it starts with Nero. And the merchants would have to do their trade and everything, and they'd get more of these tetradrachms back, and then on their way out, they had to turn those in, and Rome would give them back the Roman coinage, so they could use them the rest of the world. Now, naturally, being fair and honest people, they kept a nice share for themselves on both transactions. Beat the daylights out of the sales tax, because you got the money, or they got the money, whether or not you bought anything. You had a converter coming in and coming out. In the rest of the world, you could just travel around, and the coins you spent in Corinth would work in Palestine, would work in Rome, would work in England, and they were just fine, except for Egypt. So I brought those in, and they'll be over here for you guys to look at.
Very good. Thanks for sharing those.
And also, it's very hard to find any of these that are in decent condition, because Egypt is all sand. And even though it's sand, it's not all big grains of sand, because as it's weathered and going back and forth, there's a lot of dust, but it's still abrasive. And the people don't sit and wash their hands all that often with that. If I can find a phrase of it, like emery powder, and the time they touch the coin, they're wearing off a part of it, so most of the coins are hardly recognizable. These are in pretty decent shape. That's my story for today.
Thank you. Ron, you're next. Ron, you're next. Thanks.
Got some tokens from Indianapolis Zoo. We actually went to Indianapolis, my granddaughter and I, for the Comic-Con, so she could meet with Flash. But then we went to the zoo, and I got these nice tokens here with penguin and a dolphin. So I got to meet and greet with the dolphins, got to shake hands with them. And got these tokens here, pretty nice, because they have the rated edge, so I was kind of impressed with that. So I'll leave them up here so you can look at them.
All right, thanks, Ron. Brian, you're next. Thank you. Right.
So my father-in-law was born in Ecuador, worked most of his life in Jersey and Pennsylvania, and has a nice pension that is even nicer now that he lives in Columbia. And so for his 80th birthday, my wife went down there to visit him, and she brought me back a Cartagena, Colombia coin set. So that's what I brought in for show and tell. Checking it out, it's really hard to process what you're looking at. So it gives you an appreciation for the stability of our coinage system. The big coin in the corner here is 1958, and maybe looks like something like a 50-cent piece or something. But you look at, I don't know what denomination it is because you can't see the back, or if they show the back, you can't see the front. But the denominations range from 50 centavos up to 200 pesos, and the sizes are all over the map. Like there's 50 centavos that are bigger than 100 pesos. There's this one in the corner.
So that one was 1958. What's the newest ones on there?
I think there was a 2812.
Okay.
So yeah, it's not all older stuff.
Oh.
But yeah,
it's 2011 there.
One thing that I think they did a nice job on is I don't see any two coins that are the same in there. So they really did go through and pick a variety. Yeah. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to show.
Really cool. Thanks for sharing. Gordon, you're next.
Doesn't have anything to do with numismatics, but it has to do with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody know that they changed the pledge 3 times? Okay.
Told me that not now.
Oh, okay, thank you. But anyway, so I have the current pledge here, and in this short article, it tells you that in let's see, in 1892, I guess was the first Pledge of Allegiance, and it said that the pledge was read at public evidence in 1892. What they did is they've changed. The first time it was a Pledge of Allegiance to my flag of the Republic, and then the second pledge that was in October 12th, 1892, and then in 1924 the pledge was officially adopted. The newly worded pledge was adopted, and the pledge was further. Let's see. They changed that to it. Says, they dropped the my flag and just put in the flag. And then when President Dwight Eisenhower was in, that was whenever that was. Yeah, that was in the 50s. It says here. Then it says it has the current. No, they added in. Let's see.
One nation under God.
One nation under God, right? They put God in there. So it's an interesting article. It's a very short article. You can read it, but that was kind of interesting. We do the pledge here.
Thanks, Gordon.
I get some new coins from different places at different times, and so finding a couple different things that I got. These are some Canadian coins. They're actually from last year, 2022, and they commemorate Alexander Graham Bell.
So cool colorized dollar there.
Yeah, so those are the dollar coins, and then this is a silver dollar in the silver proof set.
Nice set. These are all silver, huh?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. When they used to have the penny, even the penny was silver plated with gold.
Wow.
And then these are from Britain, and I ordered them in January. So that's the silver one, and this is the copper nickel one. For the Rolling Stones, I figured probably a few Rolling Stones fans in here, so people might appreciate that.
Great. Thanks, Nick.
Leg went to sleep here. I just wanted to say have a good night to all you numismatists and old numismatists too.
You look at it, Bob.
New and old.
I collect unusual things sometimes, and there's probably a few of you that do collect these too. This happens to be a bank bag from the Citizens State Bank of Grigla, Minnesota. Anybody ever heard of Grigla, Minnesota? You can show this one down there. And I had to put something in the bag to bring it to. Okay, what is this, the 175th anniversary of this year? Anybody know? 175.
Your birth?
Calculate. That's close.
Some state. I don't know.
Anyway, this will give you a hint anyway. Of the American Gold Rush.
Oh,
1848, 175th anniversary.
we should know that.
This one, there's such a beautiful metal. It looks like it's made out of real gold and real silver, but it probably isn't. You can show both sides there if you want. But it's just a beautiful metal, one of the larger ones I have. It weighs 12 ounces. If it was all silver, it'd be worth, hundreds of dollars. And if it's real gold there, which it might be. Anyway, I could not find any markings on it. There's a whole book written on the edges of it, on the outside edge here.
Oh, yeah, I see
Real
it.
small printing,
Wow.
About the story of the gold rush and everything.
Yeah, the
But
capsule hides it a little
you'd
bit.
have to get it really close to be able to, with a magnifying glass. So anyway, 175th anniversary of the gold rush. So I'll be back to talk about the 200th anniversary in 25 years.
Put it on the calendar, Duff. Thanks, Bobcat. Next up, we got John Smarrin.
Okay, so last month I went to the Covina Coin Club and I bought the 10 raffle tickets, and so this was my raffle winnings. So it's a 5 shilling coin from South Africa, and it's the 50th anniversary of the founding of South Africa, and it says unity through strength, and then it has the Parliament House on it.
1910 to 1960. Yep. Nice.
So that's my story.
John. Bobcat, you got some folks in here asking in the chat where you got that Gold Rush medal at.
I don't remember, it was at a coin show.
At a coin show, okay.
Probably a ridiculous coin show.
Probably a coin show, okay.
Over the last 48 years. So.
But it wasn't recently. It wasn't, okay. It was a while ago then, okay. Thanks again, John. I skipped Matthew. Sorry, Matthew.
So I was at the Arcadia coin show and I got this belt. I think it was 2 weeks ago. It has a Morgan dollar on it. So I was like, I need a new belt. So there you go.
John Duff.
I have a show and a tell. The show is a Proof Life 1880 S Morgan. And my tell has to do with Amazing Grace. It's sort of like your tell. I play Amazing Grace with the bass. We just did in our senior community. We just did 5 performances, 5 kind of what do they call it? A variety show. Singers and comedians and stuff like that. Played Amazing Grace. But I learned something about it this time. This is my mom's favorite song. Amazing Grace was written in 1772 by John Newton. And John Newton was a slave trader. And he was taking slaves from Africa to the Caribbean, to the colonies. What, you know it? You know the story? Anyway, coming back in 1772 to Ireland, he hit a storm. And so he found Jesus, basically. And when he got back, he decided that he didn't want to be a wretch anymore and be a slave trader. So he became a pastor and started preaching against slavery and helped pass the 1807 Act in England that later became the Complete Act in 1834. I think it was. So he's known as having helped in the slave trade in Britain. But he wrote it because he found grace and he was a wretch. You get it?
Nice.
So anyway, that's the story of Amazing Grace.
There you go, John. Thank you.
Is he
That
just
up there? Yeah, I think so. Looks proof-like to me. Oh. All right, I'm next with show and tell. I picked this up recently. It is the 5-ounce Hawaii America the Beautiful quarter, and it's one of the better ones in the series. And haven't had one of these, and always wanted one, and just got it. So that's that. Anybody else have show and tell? Come on up.
My name is Bill Ferry. I love this meeting. It's great.
Oh, great. Love to have you here.
I have a $5 gold piece
Oh,
with a funny mint mark. Charlotte.
the sea mint mark.
Yes.
Southern gold.
So, you know, the mint marks, it's hard to find a coin with a C mint mark. And
Especially one this nice. That's a nice one.
anyways, I bought it because of the mint mark. It's too bad that Denver and Dahlonega begin with the letter D. So there's two different D mints with the D mint mark, and that's confusing to me.
It can be, yeah. No, that's a great looking example too. Very nice. Thanks for sharing. Anyone else have a show and tell? Come on up. Yes, you can show that. Walt just tossed this to me here. It's a casino chip Las Vegas Numismatic Society 60th anniversary coin show, and it's at a 2023 Morgan dollar in color on there. And Walt, you said there was only 300 of these done?
Only 300 were made. They were sold at the show. They went out to for their 60th anniversary. But on the back was a collage of coloring. Really, only 300 were made. The dies broke on the reverse, so they could only do that many. But it was interesting. Casino chips tokens, people were asking for hundreds of them. We don't have them. It was a great experience there.
Very nice.
The very first hotel was the Riviera.
Yeah, it's got the Sahara here and Palace Station.
Which was the last one.
Very nice. Anyone else show and tell? All right. If not, we're going to go ahead and we have a giveaway to give away here tonight for anyone that left comments on our last YouTube video. I know some people have come up to me and said they have trouble leaving comments. Really, all you got to do is have any kind of Google account, Gmail, most common for a lot of people. And if you're logged into that and then go to YouTube, you should be able to leave a comment. If you need further help with that, I can try. But other than that, we're going to pick a winner here from last month's video. This was donated by Clarence to the club. It's a 1946 Booker T. Washington commemorative silver $50. And then we'll go ahead and pick a winner from that. So you guys got from right now until me figuring out how to get the comment picker on my computer in the next minute or two to enter into that still. And then next month, we're going to be giving away 2 coins for any people that leave comments on this month's video. And it's a couple of Swiss coins, brilliant uncirculated Swiss 1 franc and a Swiss 2 franc. So you'll have a chance to win those for next month. So good luck there. So I'm going to try to get here on the computer, and then we'll go ahead and be able to take our break. So and make sure you guys check out the auction items. And if you need more raffle tickets, Ben can help you out with that, I'm sure. Okay. All right. So now I just got to figure out how to get the comment picker up here in last month's video, and should be easy to do. So good luck to everybody. I just got to go to my YouTube first. Let's see how I can do this. Go to my channel and find last month's video. That should be easy. There it is. Mute the ad that shows. Copy the link. And then go to the comment picker. And I'm not going to be able to share the screen to show you guys, but everybody in the room here should be able to see it, so they know we're not totally cheating here. So I'm putting in our YouTube link from last month. We're filtering out any duplicate entries, so you only get one entry per person. And we're going to obtain the comments from the video. 34 people are in on it. We're going to pick the winner right now. The winner is Fishin' Hank. He says, I love the Coin Club meetings. Well, thank you, Fishin' Hank, and congrats. You are the winner. So I'll write that down. That is yours. Again, thank you, everyone, for participating and being here on the YouTube. And, of course, thank you to everyone here in person. I wish we could involve those online in the rest of the meeting, but we just really can't do the auction and raffle and the rest of our meeting. And you definitely can't have any donuts or milk and cookies with us, so I apologize for that. I guess until next time, we'll see you next month. We got a great guest speaker planned again, and thank you again.
I thought Albert would be here, but he was